Hi everybody. Today I'm going to look at something that people have asked me about, and that's the three of the funniest moments that I have encountered since I came out as trans. All three of these were quite early on, so I'm going to go through each one of them one at a time. They are not only did I find them funny, although a couple of them weren't funny at the time, they were also quite embarrassing. I'm doing that because it's not always plain sailing, and some of the silly little things happen when you go out and venture out for the first time. First of all, I'm going to go to the first time I went out. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that I came out just under 6 years ago, and we lived in a villa in an urbanization just outside Torrevieja, and I had never been outside my front gate before. And I was chatting to my wife, and she said, "Well, you need to start small." And I thought, "Yeah, I do, really, don't I?" And if you know anything about Spain, you basically know that we don't have bin collections at the houses. We have a sort of communal bins strategically placed around the urbanizations at the end of roads and stuff. And we take our bins out and they get collected from there. The big difference between there and the UK is, well, the main one for me is the council tax. In the UK, before I left 11 years ago, we were paying not far off £2,000 a year in council tax. And here we pay between €300 and €400 a year. So, and the only difference that I know is the bin collections anyway. We decided this time that I would dress up, put my makeup on, and take the bins out. Now, it meant going out of the front door, down the road about 50 metres, turning right, and about another 20 metres, taking the bins out, depositing them, and coming back. Anyway, I goes out, I gets made up, and all nervous. And looking back, it seems really ridiculous, doesn't it? I mean, I go everywhere now. It's never an issue. I don't even think about it. But this time I was absolutely scared stiff in case someone clocked me. And when you look back, you think, and so what if they did? What would they have done? So there's me all nervous, and I get the bin bag and I carry it outside the front door. I go about 10 steps, and a police car drives up the road and stops right opposite to where I'm walking. And my first thing is, oh my God, they've clocked me. It's the it's the it's the gender police. They're gonna take me in for questioning. Anyway, it turns out they stopped to speak to a couple of people on the other side of the road, one of whom lived there, and he was chatting away to the police officer, was chatting away to them. But that really unnerved me. I stopped and I thought, should I go back? And I made the decision, well, I'm out, I might as well carry on. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it, really? So I carried on, but my steps were quicker. I got to the bottom, I turned round and put the bin in, came back, and as I'm coming back up the road, the two people are still there, but the police car had gone, and I thought, they're going to see me, they're going to clock me. And as it turned out, everything was in my imagination because they didn't even look across. And I got back into my villa, and everything was perfect. It was only about maybe a month after I'd come out properly, but actually it just shows you what demons are inside your head when you come out for the first time, and what panic you can have just over the most ridiculous of things. So that was the first time. Um, Before I go on to the next two, I would like to say, first of all, again, just thank you for everybody who's watching these videos. I'm getting really good feedback from people. And to everyone that's commented, thank you. I do try and reply to everybody. But if I miss someone, it's because I haven't been able to look for a couple of days. But I do go back and I try to comment on every time people comment on me. I try to reply to you. So thank you very much for doing that. I really do appreciate it. The second time was that September. Now, I came out in the June, and in the September, the following year, it was the first time I'd actually been away as Carla properly. It was Benidorm Pride, so Pride Week in Spain, in Benidorm, is the first full week in September. Lots of things go on. It's fantastic. And it was a 3 nights in Benidorm, and it was the first time I'd ever been away taking no man clothes at all. And it's quite a buzz, really, when you've got all you've got in your case, in your bag, is female clothes. There's no going back. It's about an hour and a half here from Benidorm, and you go via Alicante, and that's about another half hour afterwards before you get to Benidorm. Anyway, The first night out, I get all ready. I'm all perfect. My makeup's perfect. And we get out, me and my wife get into the lift. We're meeting other people down in the reception before we go out into the town. And I get into the lift and we press the button and we're going our way down for the hotel, down to the ground floor. And as we're getting to the ground floor, I suddenly realised I hadn't got my tits in. I hadn't put my tits in. Um, how did I know? Because I went like that and I went, oh my God, I forgot my tits. And I panicked. I didn't want anyone else to come in. I thought everybody would look at me. And luckily enough, I got to the ground floor. There was nobody there. Pressed the button, went back and put my tits in. A real panic for me on that one. The rest of the night went perfectly, and my first night out in Benidorm was, as it always is, fantastic night. Nobody bothers with you, nobody cares, nobody hardly even looks at you. And when they do, they just look and then they carry on with their lives. But without your tits, you're nothing, are you? The second time was the most embarrassing of all. I was in Torrevieja and we were going to a bar for the night. It was the end of July, and it's in the early 40s during the day in July, end of July and into August. Very, very hot. I got ready. I got everything right. I remember my tits. I always do now. It's always my ultimate check before I leave, especially after that last time. And I went with my friend and we went along the road and down towards the front Torrevieja. And it wasn't until I got in the bar that I realised one of my tits weren't there. And I went, oh my God, it's gone. Where is it? And I thought, I can't possibly have forgotten one of them and left the other one in. Surely. I couldn't think what had happened. It was hot. And I really panicked. So I went like that. I went into the toilet, and the only thing I could think of was to fill it with toilet paper. So I filled my bra cup with toilet paper and came out, and it was okay. It looked okay. You couldn't tell the difference. The only thing was, it was very, very warm. And you know what happens to toilet paper or tissue paper when it gets very, very warm? It condenses and goes into papier-mâché. So it became smaller as the night came on. So I went to the toilet quite a few times in that night and replenished my breast. And eventually I got a full breast of hard papier-mâché paper, and it looked okay. Only I knew. But of course, when you're self-conscious and when you're thinking about what happened, you're thinking everybody can notice. I went into the toilet and I'm looking sideways and I'm thinking, oh God, does this look normal? If it didn't, I went into the toilet and topped it up again and everything else. But I really didn't know what had happened. Anyway, I was walking back that night, probably about 11 o'clock after we've had a few drinks, and we went back up towards where we were staying. Turned left, and as we were walking along the road, there was my breast on the floor, on the pavement. And I don't know whether anyone had seen it and done anything or whatever, but it looked like it had been stamped on because it was in pretty bad state of repair. It was split across the top, and there was my breast gone, smashed. So that sort of cleared it up. And the only thing I can think of is, because I still have to shave up here every now and again. I'm lucky. I'm not blessed with a lot of body hair, but it's enough to put you off. I mean, any T-girl, any trans woman will tell you one of the biggest issues is hair on your body, and you grow to despise it. So I'd shaved, and as what people recommend, I'd put moisturizer on just to stop it irritating and rubbing. And the combination of moisturizer, the 40-degree heat, had made one of them slip under the bra without me noticing, under my top, and plopped on the floor without me noticing. And I only assume that because the traffic was going backwards and forwards, I hadn't noticed. So that was another one. And for the rest of that summer, not only did I check my breasts before I went out, I was checking them every 50 yards just to make sure they hadn't slipped out. So that was that. It hasn't happened again. I haven't put moisturizer back on top. Of course, you moisturize your legs, you moisturize your arms and everywhere else where you possibly can. It's one of the things you do to look after yourself. But I've never done it on top, warned, because of the heat. Now, wherever you live, you might not have that heat. But if you're away on holiday or whatever, it's just a little bit of a warning. You use moisturizer. Don't be surprised if one of your tits tries to slip out unattended. So, so that was that. So that's my three embarrassing or unnervy or funny moments. I thought I'd share them with you because it's not always plain sailing, and it's not always what you expect it to be. And sometimes you can look back and laugh at stuff, but it was it was quite nerve wracking at the end. And early on, you're quite self conscious, aren't you? I don't know how I'd cope now, and it's never happened since. So I've learned to live with it. I've learned to cope, and in the grand scheme, it's not a big deal. But I just thought it was quite amusing. So I hope that's reassured some people that things go wrong and you can deal with it, and it just shows you that anything can happen. So thank you for watching, and thank you for everybody who's commented on these videos. And if you want me to cover anything in the future, ask me any questions. I'll cover them in future videos about my experiences over the last 6 years. So until next time, thank you and goodbye.